Okay, we're going to talk about writing equations of lines. So suppose a line has a slope m and a y-intercept 0b. We can find the equations of this line by choosing another point x, y on the line shown. Then we just use the slope formula. Okay, so we're going to talk about slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope, and 0b is the y-intercept. Okay, and the y-intercept goes through the y-axis. Okay, so through y-axis. Okay, cool. So here we go. Write the equation of a line given slope and y-intercept. So we know our slope is 2 and our y-intercept is 0, -3. So we know that's 0b. All right, so we know b is -3. So y equals 2x minus 3. And that's it for that one. Okay. All right, let's do it again. So write an equation of a line with a slope -4/5. So m equals -4/5. And b, so this is 0b. So b is -2. So y equals -4/5 x minus 2. So that's how we write the equation of a line. Okay. All right. So now we're going to graph lines using slope and y-intercept. So we graph not last class, right? So in 2.2, okay, we talked about using a point and then the slope. Okay, so remember when we started with a point, we graphed our point first. Okay, so we graph the point. Okay, then we use the slope to do rise over run. Okay, so we're gonna kind of do the same thing. Okay, but when we do slope and y-intercept, we start with b, and how I remember that is b is where we begin. Okay, so we're going to begin with b. So 0, -6. Okay, so b is -6. So that's our y-intercept. So we start on our y-axis. This is our y-axis. Yes, people mess it up all the time. That's why I'm like y-axis, okay? So -6 on our y-axis. It's going to be down here. Yes, I'm so sorry. It's off the graph. I don't know why I haven't fixed the graph yet. It's like my third time using these notes, okay? And then 2, we use our slope. Well, that's how I remember that is m is where we move. I like to move it, move it. I really like teaching in front of the class because I would have danced. Okay, so we're going to move. And our slope is 3. Remember, we throw a 1 under there. So we're going to go up 3 because it's positive, and then we always go right. So right 1. So we go up 1, 2, 3, right 1. Okay, there's our point, and we graph. Okay, that's it. All right, so it was already in y equals mx plus b form. We use our b to begin. We use our m to move. So what if it's not in slope-intercept form? What if it's in standard form? Well, if it's in standard form, first we're going to solve for y, then use our b to begin, then use our m to move. Okay, so here we go. X plus 2y equals -4. Solve. Divide by 2. Y equals -12 x minus 2. So I solve for y. So that was step 1. Let's label these steps 1. 2. What's my b? My b is at 0, -2. So that's what I'm going to plot. Then I use my m to move. So -12. So down 1 over 2. Okay, now if you also want to go up and left just to give yourself another point, that's fine. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do it again. 3y plus 2x equals 9. So we're going to solve for y. So subtract 2x. 3y equals -2x plus 9. Y equals -2/3 x plus 3. Okay, so that was step 1, right? We solve for y. Step 2 is we're going to use our b to begin. So b is 3. And then 3, we're going to use our m to move. So our b is 0, 3. So 0, 3. Now our m is negative 2 over 3. So remember, we're going to go down 2 and then right 3. So down 2, right 1, 2, 3. Okay? If you want to go up 2, then left 3, you can do that too. Okay? All right. So that's slope-intercept form. Cool. Now we're going to hit my favorite, point-slope form. So point-slope form is exactly what it sounds like. If we have a point and we have a slope, we can write things in point-slope form. So it's the easiest form to start with. And if we start in point-slope form, then we can go to slope-intercept form, and then we can go to standard form. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay? So we're going to write an equation of a line given a slope and a point. So write an equation of a line with a slope of 2/5 passing through the point 3, negative 4. Now with this, we have to be careful because they start, like, the equation has some minuses. So our signs are going to change here, okay? And so if we throw in a negative number, it's going to become positive. So you've got to be real, real careful, okay? So here we go. This is x1, this is y1. Y is always y in here, x is always x. The only thing we plug into is x1 and y1. So point slope form, y minus y1. Oops, my y1's negative, so I make it a positive. Y plus 4 equals 2/5 parentheses x minus 3 is positive, it stays negative. Perfect. Now, we can go directly from point slope to slope intercept by getting rid of the parentheses, okay, and distributing. So, and then solving for y, okay. I didn't complete my thought there. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute 2/5. So y plus 4 equals 2/5 x minus, okay, we gotta multiply fractions. You're gonna freak out a little bit. Let's do some, so I call this my like sidebar. We're gonna do some sidebar work over here, okay? We're gonna do 2/5 times 3, which is 3 over 1, so that's 6 over 5. Can't reduce that anymore, so 6 over 5. Perfect. Now I'm gonna subtract 4. Okay, so I've got y equals, bring down my 2/5 x minus, now I gotta subtract these, so I've got negative 6 over 5 minus 4 over 1. Okay, they do not have a common denominator. My common denominator is 5. Okay, so I've got to multiply the top and the bottom by 5. So negative 6 over 5 minus 20 over 5 gives me negative 26 over 5. And that's my answer. Okay, so you've got the little rinky-dink calculator, okay, that you're going to use the rest of your time. So you've got to be able to do fractions. All right, okay, let's do another one. Slope of 1/3 goes to the point negative 2, 5. So here we go. Y is y minus, oh, let me label x1, y1. y1, 5 equals 1/3 x minus negative 2 plus. There we go. That's point slope. Point slope's done. That's why it's so easy. We just plug and chug. Okay? So now we're going to go to slope intercept. So we've got to solve. So let me rewrite it. Let's distribute. Y minus 5 equals 1/3 x plus sidebar. So 1/3 times 2 over 1 gives me 2/3. Okay, cool. Now, let's rewrite. Y minus 5 equals 1/3 x plus 2/3. Add 5. Okay, so y equals 1/3 x plus, I don't know, Mrs. Weddington, I have to do fractions again. So 2/3 plus 5 over 1. Got to get a common denominator, right? So common denominator is 3. Multiply top and bottom by 3. So I get 2/3 plus 15 over 3. That's going to be 17 over 3. And that's my answer. Okay? Whew. So that was a lot. Now, the next step in this process is, well, what if they just give me 2 points? Well, we can start at 2 points, get the slope, go to point slope, go to slope-intercept, and even go to standard form. Okay, so that's our next step. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to write the equation of a line, okay, passing through those points and give the final answer in standard form. Okay, so here we go. First, we're going to find slope. So we know our slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So here we go. 4 minus 6 over 1 minus negative 2, negative 2 over 3. That's my slope. Okay? Now I'm going to go to point slope. Now when you do point slope, it does not matter which one you pick. I usually pick the one with either both negatives or both positives. Here's the reason. When you put it in point slope, either both of your numbers in parentheses are like going to be positive or negative. So I'm going to pick 1, 4. Okay? So x1, y1. Here we go. So here's the formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, right? So y minus 4 equals negative 2/3 times x minus 1. Perfect. That's our point slope. Now we got to go to slope-intercept. Okay? Rewrite. Okay? Distribute. Okay? That's easy. 2/3 times 1 is just positive 2/3 because a negative times a negative is a positive. Now we got to add 4. Do our little sidebar, 2/3 plus 4 over 1. Multiply top and bottom by 3. 2/3 plus 12/3 gives me 14/3. So I get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 14/3. Okay, so that's my slope-intercept. So I feel like I should like highlight these. So let's do a different highlighted color. So I'm highlighting purple. Slope, point slope, slope-intercept. Standard. Okay, here's the big deal about standard form, and we talked about this oh so long ago. Here. Woo, that's crazy. So y equals mx plus b. This is ax plus by equals c. Okay, no fractions. Okay, so we got to clear fractions. So I've got y equals negative 2/3 x plus 14 over 3. I've got to get rid of the fraction. So common denominator is 3. So I'm going to multiply everybody by 3. Okay, so here's the rule of clearing fractions. You remember we talked about it a while ago. Multiply the tops, divide the bottoms. If you can divide the denominators, divide them. Okay, so 3y equals 3 divided by 3 is 1, goes away. So negative 2x plus 3 divided by 3 is 1, 14. And you want to move the x over. Now, MyLabs, usually I think it wants the x positive, and you could totally correct me if I'm wrong, and somebody will tell me. I'm pretty sure it wants the x's positive, so try to keep your x's positive. So that's your standard form. Okay, all right, so let's do it again, and if you want to pause me and do it by yourself on this one, you totally can. If you're not ready for that, then that's fine. If you want to do the ×2 at the bottom and move me really fast, that works too. I heard that's really fun because sometimes I move really slow. All right, x1, y1, x2, y2. I wonder if there's like that slow down button. All right, let's find the slope. So negative 1 plus 4 over negative 2 minus 3. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You should be really good at your slope formula now. So I get 3 over negative 5. Okay, that's my slope. I kind of like the highlighting better than the boxes. Okay, point slope. Doesn't matter what you pick. I'm going to pick the negative 2, negative 1 to put into here because they're both negative, which is going to make my signs both pluses, right? So y plus 1 equals negative 3/5 times x plus 2. Shebang. We got it. Woohoo! If you care, I'm literally in a room with 2 dogs by myself having fun doing math. Okay, it's a good time. I'm really enjoying this. I hope you're really enjoying this video. All right, here we go. We're going to simplify. Y plus 1 equals negative 3/5 times x plus 2. Distribute. Y plus 1 equals negative 3/5 x plus, if you need to do your sidebar, make that 2 over 1. So, oh, it's not negative, it's definitely positive, or it's not positive, it's definitely negative. So negative 6 over 5. If you're struggling with fractions, okay, go to CUDA software and go to pre-cal, or not pre-cal, pre-algebra. There's a pre-algebra tab with like worksheets, and there should be like fractions, and you can practice. Okay, do that. It'll help. All right, subtract 1. So we get y equals negative 3/5 x. So if we subtract, you'll get good at making this negative 5 over 5. So it's going to be negative 11 over 5. Okay, that is my slope-intercept. Okay, standard form. My common denominator is 5. I'm going to multiply everybody by 5. If I can cancel it, I will. If I can't, I'm just going to multiply. So times 5 times 5 times 5. So I get 5y equals, cancel, negative 3x, cancel, minus 11. Add 3x to both sides. So 3x plus 5y equals negative 11. There's my standard form. Okay? All right. So we've talked horizontal and vertical lines like 5 million times, okay? Remember, horizontal lines, okay, are my hoys, and vertical lines are my buxes, okay? And we're in the writing stage, so we talked about like how to graph them, then how to find their slope, and now we're at the writing. See how that's really cool? So the writing, we're talking about whether it's y or with x, okay? So I want to write an equation of a line passing through the point 2, -1, okay, that satisfies the given condition. So I want it to have an undefined slope. Well, Vux is my undefined slope, so it has to have an equation with x. Well, if they give me a point and it has to have an equation of x, then it has to have the x coordinate, okay? Then if I want the line to have a slope of 0, well, 0 slope has to do with y. If they give me a point, it has to have the y coordinate, okay? All right, so now let's deal with parallel and perpendicular lines just like we did before. Okay, we've like kind of graphed them, we've talked about them. So I want to write an equation that goes through negative 8, 3, okay? That satisfies this condition, okay? And then I give my final answer in slope-intercept form. I want something that goes through this point, but that's parallel to that line. Well, the word parallel means I've got to have the same slope, right? Well, first of all, I got to figure out what the slope of this line is. So I've got to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2x, and I get negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 10. Y equals, sorry, I started skipping steps. Don't yell at me. Y equals 2/3 x minus 10/3. Okay, now the only thing we want from this is the slope because we want it to be the same. So I need my slope, and then they gave me this point. Okay, so since they want me to use slope-intercept form, okay, I'm actually going to show you how to go directly to slope-intercept form, even though I've showed you how to use point-slope form. Okay, if this is x and this is y, and I want to go to directly to slope-intercept form, what if I use y equals mx plus b? Okay, I'm given m, x, and y, but to write an equation of a line, I need m and b, right? So let's plug in what we have and solve for b. So 3 equals 2/3 times negative 8 plus b. 3 equals negative 16 over 3 plus b. Add 16 over 3. Okay, 3 over 1 is the same as 9 over 3. So I get 25 over 3. That's my b. Okay? So my equation of my line is y equals 2/3 x plus 25 over 3. Okay, my steps are a little crazy. This was step 1. This was step 2. This was step 3. Okay? Now what if I wanted to be perpendicular to the same line and through the same point? Well, I don't have to resolve for my slope because my slope was 2/3. Now before I kept the same slope, but if I want the perpendicular slope, that's the sign for perpendicular, I got to do -3/2. I got to switch it and negate it, right? Okay, so now I'm using -3/2 as my slope, still using the point -8/3. Let's do the same thing. y3 equals -3/2 times -8 plus b, and we're going to solve for b. So I get 3 equals, that's going to be 24 over 2, which is 12, plus b, subtract 12, and my -9 equals b. Okay, so my equation of my perpendicular line is going to be, and I can't erase because I'm going to post these notes, is y equals -3/2 x minus 9. We did it. Okay. All right, last equation, or last example. A gym membership costs $75 for initial sign-up fee plus 20 per month. Write an equation that gives the cost y in dollars for X months of membership. Now, whenever you're doing these, you got to remember per means X. Okay? So, I'm going to go to the gym. It's going to cost me y dollars. I'm going to sign up. I got to give them $75 up front. Okay? Plus, every single month, I'm going to give them $20. And I put the X next to it. And that's it. Okay? That is this section.